Hi guys, welcome back to Oldtimer Garage. So here is a new update on the restoration of my Cadillac. At the end of the last video the bodywork was almost finished and the engine was back on the chassis. Now it's time to get everything reassembled. I have to say that this whole restoration has been going pretty well and pretty fast, and I expect the car to be completely finished in about a month or so from now. I have already started to look into what the next project is going to be, but that will be for another video because I'm not completely sure yet as to which car I'm going to buy. But for now, let me show you what's been done on this car since the last video. So this is how the Caddy was at the end of the last video. The new rubber is ready to replace the old dry one. The inside of the car is protected with a few coats of black paint. The only thing that is going to be resprayed is the inside of the trunk, which has been sprayed initially in black but needs to be in the same color as the rest of the body. Once the rubber is installed, the doors are adjusted. In the meantime, we received brand new windows for the whole car, so everything will be changed because the old one were starting to delaminate. The new glass gets its chrome edges and the raising mechanism for all 6 of them. In parallel, the paint job gets polished and the steering wheel worked on because, as most of them, this one got cracked by the sun. Now, about the interior, as I was saying in the previous video, the idea is to restore it exactly as it was originally. In reality it will be slightly different because the color of the leather I could get is slightly darker than the original one, but it should look good anyway. The main problem I was having was that the supplier that was supposed to provide me with the clothes for the seats took forever to manufacture the original Cadillac cloth that corresponds to that model. I was told they are always pretty long to deliver, but this was very long to my standard. I even found another supplier and placed a second order with them so that I could get it faster, and right a few days before the second order got delivered, the first one arrived after over 5 months on order. So I now know which supplier I will work with for the next car. Now it's time to rewire the whole car. This is a job that takes a long time, and unless you know the car you're working on perfectly, if you didn't take pictures when you dismantle all the connections, it can easily turn into a nightmare when it comes to finding which cable goes where. This is much more complex than the 2 CVs I used to work on when I started getting into classic cars. But the principle is the same. The only difference is that this car has got many more systems like the power seats, power vents, power trunk, autotronic eye, etc. On the engine side, in the last video the radiator was missing because it still needed to be renovated and repainted, but it's now back on the car too. Then all the accessories come back on the car again, the door handles, the lights, chromes and all the rest of it. It is starting to look like a car again and I like it. The next step is to reassemble the front. The hinges for the hood will still have to be painted in the original golden color. And the steering wheel comes out of the paint job. And all the fenders and their chrome come back on after being polished. The rear bumper comes back on too. Now, if you remember, when I bought this car, there was a Buick grid on it, but I also had the original Cadillac grid on in the trunk. So this one got prepared and polished and readjusted with the front bumper to return this car to its original looks. And that's about it for this part. As I finish editing this video, the work on the interior has already started. The upholsterer has got the leather and the cloth and has started to work on the seats. It should take around 3 weeks more or less to get that done, and in parallel the guys at the workshop are finishing touching up the car and putting the new carpet in. I've also hired an electrician to rebuild the autotronic eye and the power trunk mechanism. So for those of you who don't know what that is, basically there is a push button into the glove box that opens up the trunk lid and closes it down. And the autotronic eye is the electronic eye that can be found in the middle of the dashboard. Its job is basically to lower the headlights from high to low when another car is coming in the opposite direction. When the eye detects a car coming the other way, it lowers the headlight, then half a second later flashes them again to remind the other driver not to forget to lower their lights, and then leaves them low until the other car has passed, and then it put them the full 4 headlights back on. So obviously this system was no longer working on my car, but instead of putting an old system that I don't know how long would be good for, the guy is going to reproduce the same features with modern components. The easy way would have been to just replace the old components of the system, but by doing that I can also test the skills of this guy and see if there are more to do on the next cars, then I will know who to go to. Anyway, I will show you all that in the next video. For now, I hope that you enjoyed this video. As always, give me a thumbs up if you did. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. I also wanted to ask you something. Maybe you can let me know what you think in the comments. I'm almost getting now to 10,000 subscribers, which I'm very grateful for. I would never have thought this would have happened, but now that it has, I'd like to try and grow this channel and make it more interesting. I'm trying to think of things that I could do to achieve that, and I wanted to ask you to share in the comments what you would like to see on this channel. I have my own ideas, of course, but this channel is much more yours than mine, so I'd like to try my best to show you what you think would be interesting. Just give me ideas and I will see what I can do. If I can't afford it right now, I can always plan it for the future or try to find sponsors or something else. I'll always find a way to make it work. Anyway, thank you for all for following me. Don't forget to subscribe, like and comment, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Drive safe.